We're going to be completing the QuadFun test review. Given f of x equals 2x squared plus 5x minus 17, find f of negative 1. Anytime they give us a function, the first thing you should do is put it in your calculator. So we go to the graph. We make sure we type it in as a function, 2x squared plus 5x minus 17. Enter. Now, because that negative 1 is inside the parentheses, remember your cheer motions, because it's inside, it's the x. So we are looking for where x is negative 1. So Control T to get to the table, and when the x is negative 1, the answer is negative 20. Which of the following best describes the situation? The ball was in the air for 2.6 seconds. So if I was to follow this, here's the ball, and it's hitting the ground at about 2.6 seconds. The ball was initially dropped from 31 feet. Okay, that's the highest height, but it wasn't dropped. It was thrown up, and then it goes back down. So it's not C. The height of the ball increases until it reaches about 25. So it's increasing until it reaches about 31. So that's not right. The time the ball was in the air depends on the height. Time does not depend on anything. Time is always independent. So the answer is A. For number 3, you were instructed to go through and cross off the second part of this question. All you should be doing is deciding which function has a vertex at -5, -6. So when I'm looking at these, remember, your x is a liar. So inside the parentheses, it should be x plus 5 squared and then minus 6. It doesn't matter what your a value is. It will still have that vertex if it looks like that form. So that has a -5. No. That has a -6 for the x. No. A +5, it's a liar. So it gives you -5 and a -6. That is your answer. If you wanted to check, go to the graph, and I could type in 3 parentheses, x plus 5, close parentheses, squared minus 6. And the vertex is at -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could also look at the table, Control T, and the -5 is in the middle of the rainbow. 6, 6, -3, -3, and right there in the middle is -5, -6. What is the range of the function? So remember your doctor. Your doctor's name is XY, so we know we are referring to Y values. And then range is for robot, so it's bottom to top. So when I'm looking for the bottom of this graph, there is no bottom. That has arrows. So we don't need that side. So the top is up here at 3. So your y values are all real numbers less than or equal to 3. Not greater than or equal to 3, less than or equal to 3. The quadratic equation, which quadratic equation can produce the table? So which one of these gives me that table? So what we need to do is go to the graph. We're going to type in these functions, 4x squared plus 4. And you can do Control T and see, does it go to -2, -12? No. Another way to do this would be to put these points in stack. Go to the table. These are your x's, these are your y's. Typing in all my points. Menu, statistics, stat calc, and this is quadratic regression, so 6. X and y. So it's -4x squared. It's not going to be C either. There is no x, and then it's plus 4. Let's just check by going back to the graph. Control T to make that go away. So menu 3, 1, and I'm going to type in negative 4x squared plus 4. Control T, and it should match. Negative 2 goes with negative 12, 0, 4, 0, negative 12. Perfect. You're trying to throw a ball over a wire that is 40 feet above the ground. The height of the ball is modeled by this equation. What statement best describes this situation? The ball was initially dropped from a height of 35. So just like the other example, no, it's not dropped. We're throwing it up and it's coming back down. The height of the ball increases until it reaches about 35. This is possible. Time depends on height. Time does not depend on anything. Ball was in the air for about 5 seconds. No, it was in the air for 3 seconds. So your answer is C. What equation best models the function shown? These are equations. So I could just go to the graph, type them in. 16, instead of t, we'll use x squared plus 96x. It's really hard to see it, so you could zoom out. So menu, zoom. Let's see if this works. Okay, well, it sees it a little bit better, but you can tell for sure that that's going up and not opening down, so it can't be A. Delete that. Menu, 3, 1. 140 minus 16x squared. Okay, that's opening down. Let's see, so it's crossing over here at negative something and at positive something. Nope, it should be crossing at 0 and 6. Menu 3, 1. So we've got negative 16x squared plus 96x. Oh, that's crossing at 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I was to change my window to better fit this, so menu 4, let's just go to the first quadrant, menu, window, let's just open up the window settings. So my x-min is 0 and I need it to go out to 8. My y-min is 0, and I need it to go up to 160. That's what we have on our current one. Yes, that does look very similar. That is your answer. If I was to check this one, you would see that it is opening up as well, because it has a positive x squared. So it means it's a positive. It's a smiley face. See? All right, what is the y-intercept of the graph? You're just looking for it's crossing the right y-axis right here at 2. I need to be careful because the y value is 2, so it's not 2, 0, it's 0, 2. What is the domain and range of f of x equals negative x squared plus 2x minus 9? Okay, so right away, I know it's a quadratic, and I know the domain of every single quadratic function is all real numbers. So it can't be b and it can't be d. Range is your y values. My range values here, this is f of x, which means y. This is x, so it can't be c. Your answer has to be A just by knowing that. Now, if I was to go to a graph and I type in negative x squared plus 2x minus 9, menu, trace, now I can see it, okay? So I can see that it's going to go all the way to the left and all the way to the right. For my y values, it's going down, so it's going to be less than or equal to. There's no bottom, there's only the top, and it's there at negative 8. Sometimes it's easier to see from a table as well. There's my vertex. So all of my y values are less than or equal to that negative 8. All right, the table to the right shows points from a quadratic function. What is the value of x when f of x equals 5? This means y equals 5. So here's one of them. So maybe A is the answer. But look at this. We've got negative 2, negative 2. and a -2. All of these have -2 as an option. Because the funny thing about quadratics is that they have a rainbow. 8 goes with 8, 5 goes with 5. So there's not just one place there equals 5, there's another one. So if this continues on, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So the two places where it equals 5 are -2 and +2. Which of the following is not true about the graph of the function? Well, I want to look at it before I can decide what's true about it. So menu 3, 1, negative parentheses, x plus 4, close parentheses, squared, plus 6. All right, the graph, the y-intercept of the graph is 0, 6. 0, it's going to be a negative y-intercept. So this one is not true. Hey, that's what we want. I bet you that's the answer. Let's check the other ones. The graph opens downwards. Yep, that goes down. This is true. The graph has a maximum at -4, 6. That, let me change my window. Menu 4, 5. Okay, that is a maximum. And to tell where it's at, if I do Control T, two, 2, 5, 5. Yep, that vertex is right there at -4, 6. So this is true. So that means the axis of symmetry is x equals -4. That is also true. So A is the only one that is not true. Which equation has a vertex at 2, 7 and passes through the points 4, 19? So for vertex form, x is a liar, so it's x minus 2 squared plus 7. So minus 2 squared plus 7, minus 2 squared plus 7. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. So it's got to be one of those. So let's see which one also goes through that point. Control T to get rid of the table. Menu 3, 1, 2 parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared, plus 7. Control T. It needs to go through the point 2, 7 is the vertex, yep, and then 4, 19. Nope. Let's try C. Menu 3, 1, 3 parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared, plus 7. Control T. So there's the middle of the rainbow, 2, 7, and it does go through the point 4, 19. So this is your answer. The graph of f of x equals x squared is transformed to create the graph of g of x equals 1/5 f of negative x. What would happen to the new graph? Okay, so if I was to do this, you've got to remember I-HOD over for your transformations. Okay, so that 1/5 is outside the parentheses. So I know it's going to be vertical, and it's exactly what you think. So it's not a horizontal compression, it is a vertical compression. So you know that it is not C or D. And then reflected. This negative inside of the parentheses is going to horizontally reflect it. So if you're thinking about a graph, and horizontally it's reflecting, so it was over here and now it's over here, that's reflecting across the y-axis. How we can check this in our calculator is for this, we type in x squared. There's the original. And then I'm going to type in menu 3, 1, 1 divided by 5, parentheses, negative x squared. Oops. And it's hard to tell that it's reflected, but you can tell it's not reflected across the x-axis. The reason why you can't tell is because it's the same on both sides. And then here you can tell that it's vertically compressed. If I'm taking it and squish it, it gets fatter. Think of a Coke can or a blueberry or one of those little squash 'em toys. You squish it down, it gets fatter. What are the roots? This is a vocab word. Math rocks. Roots, zeros, x-intercepts all mean the same thing. So the roots are at -2 and 1.5-ish. -2, and then I would say 1.3. It's not at 2. All right, what is the axis of symmetry? So the axis is x is, so x equals. So right away you know it's not A or C. And it's the vertical line that cuts it in half. So it's right here at x equals 2. Match the description to its equation. Moves right 7. So I could just plug these in. Menu 3, 1, parentheses, x parentheses squared plus 7. Menu 3, 1. Okay. So parentheses, x parentheses squared. And then plus 7. Menu 5, 1. Okay, so you can see that did not go to the right 7, it went up 7. So it's not A. All right, so let's change it to -7. Now it goes down 7, so it's not C. Let's do parentheses, x plus 7, close parentheses squared. That went to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the left. So the last one, if I try it, -7. Yes, that makes it go to the right. And remember, your x is a liar. This is actually a +7, which is what makes it go right 7. Find the range of the function. Okay, so range, Dr. X, Y, range is the y values. And then robot. We're looking for the bottom and the top. So the bottom, this one does not have an arrow. This has an open circle, so no line underneath, at -6. The top is up here at 2. Oh, it's a -5, not a 6. I can't read. All right, so all real numbers less than or equal to 2 and greater than -5. That looks right. All real numbers less than or equal to 2. They didn't say the -5. All real numbers less than or equal to 2 and greater than or equal to -4. Nope, it's definitely -5. All real numbers less than or equal to -4 and greater than -5. Nope. For the function g of x equals, they're giving me a function. I need to put it in my calculator. Menu 3, 1. 1 divided by 4, parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses squared, -3. And they want us to find the positive solution, so we know we're looking for the positive numbers, so it can't be b, for where f of x equals 6. Because that 6 is not in the parentheses, it is the y value. Think of your cheer motions. Inside is x, outside is y. So Control T, and it equals 6 here at 4. Now, the reason why you had to specify the positive is because if I went up into the negatives, it's going to have a pair somewhere. There it is, at -8. Which of the following equations matches the graph? So all we have to do is put these in our calculator and see which one crosses at 0 and 4 and has a vertex at 2, negative 2. Control T. Menu 3, 1. I know that if it starts with a negative out front, that it's going to be a sad face. So I'm going to go ahead and skip A. This is another sad face. And skip D. And I'm going to jump to C. So 1 divided by 2, x squared plus 2x minus 2. So it does open up, but that vertex is not in the right spot, and neither are my zeros. So let's hope B matches. Menu 3, 1. 1 divided by 2, x squared minus 2x. Okay, 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it has the right zeros. And then 2, negative 2 has the right vertex. The table shows some points from a quadratic function h of x. Which of the following statements are true? 1. The vertex is at 0, 4. 0 goes with 0, negative 12 goes with negative 12. So yes, that's that vertex at 0, 4. So 1 is true. 2. The y-intercept is 0, 4. Okay, so y-intercepts are where the x value is 0, wherever the y value is. So 0, 4. 2 is also true. The axis of symmetry, x is y equals 0. No. Axis of symmetry has to be x equals, and then it would be 0. So 1 and 2 are true. What coordinates best represent the vertex of the graph? Vertex is that min or max. It's where the parabola changes direction. So it's going down, and right here is your vertex. So it's at about a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a little over negative 6. So right here, your answer is A. The graph of the quadratic parent function f is transformed to create the graph of g of x. What function best describes the transformation? So if I wanted to plug these in my calculator, I can. You type it in by doing parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses, squared minus 2. You just have to add the squared because of their quadratics. Enter. That does not match. Okay. Menu 3, 1, x plus, parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses, squared plus 2. Nope, that does not match. Menu 3, 1, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared minus 2. Oh, that looks kind of similar. That looks pretty close. Let's check that last one just to see. Menu 3, 1, parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared, plus 2. No, that's not it at all. So the reason why this didn't match exactly is because you're transforming this function. So what it's doing, this is the opposite of what it's doing. So instead of starting here, remember it's a liar, it goes right 2 and then down 2. So this is actually a positive 2 and then positive 2. This one would be a positive 2 and a negative 2. This is what we want. What is the range of the function? Okay, so Dr. XY, range means Y, so it can't be A and it can't be B. And then I know that because that negative out front, it's going to be a frowny face, so it has to be less than or equal to. So I know that this is my answer. But it gave me a function, so even if I know the answer, I'm going to check on my calculator. Menu 3, 1. Negative x squared minus 4x minus 10. Control T. And let's see. There's your vertex, and all of your y values are less than or equal to -6. How many zeros does this graph have? Zeros, math rocks. Roots, zeros, x-intercepts. So how many x-intercepts does this have? None. It has no zeros. How many zeros does this graph have? Or how many x-intercepts does this have? Here's your x-axis, and here it is, crossing it one time. An apple is launched from a catapult. What is the domain of the situation? So domain is x. So right away you know it's not C and you know it's not B. And we also know that domain is left to right. So the left furthest point is this one right here, and we want the x value, so 0. The right furthest point is this one right here, and we want the x value, so 10. And then